Hello and welcome to Global Farm Simulator Network. I'm your host, Green Acres, and we're going to introduce you today to the website. We're going to go to globalfarmsimulatornetwork.com, and once you've been onboarded, enter in the user ID and click Log On. When you're in, you're brought to your desktop display, and this is the base panel that we operate from. So to give you a quick tour of it, you'll see your farm name shown here, your current rank, your level, a discount if you receive one, your current net worth, the cash that you have in your account, the equipment, any buildings you have, land, loans, your current comma, your current level up progress status is shown. And if we keep looking through this, you'll see that we have a bunch of options here. Okay, so one of the first things you need to know about the menu system is how it's laid out. It's alphabetical kind of, so let's just start with the simple stuff. We have accounting, we have ledgers, so anything you buy or sell is shown here. Green dot will show you like what you've got for income, and if I click the red dot and want to separate it out, I can see where all my money's going. How am I losing money today? So this is our account ledger. Everything you do generates a ledger entry, and you can look through it all there. Next item would be, let's come down here and look at the servers themselves. Okay, so you can see here that we have Elm Creek PC. This is a personal computer server, so it will have mods. We have the base Elm Creek. This is crossplay compatible, so there may be certain mods that can't be run here. We have Erwingrad. Erwingrad is a base game contract server, and so is Hot Baileron. Gee, I hope I said that right. And I probably didn't. And these ones, Erwingrad and this one, are running base game contracts. So if you go in, you can earn money doing jobs that the player-owned, in-game player-owned entities spawn and earn money on those. They're not available for move-in yet, but they will be in probably the first week of January or so. And another slot which is not here yet. So on this display, you can look and you can see what the time difference is. The server time is posted here under daily rewards. Server time is Eastern Standard Time in the US. So just think of Boston. Boston. I parked my car in Harvard Yard, and that's the current time. So all of these times that you see down here, time difference 3 hours, that means 3 hours behind. 0 hours, it's Eastern Standard Time. Erwingrad's like 8 hours behind, and so forth. Time difference 12 hours, well, that would be 12 hours before here, and so forth. The current season for each server is shown here. These dots tick across, so as we enter the first month of winter, 1, 2, 3, that would be probably December, January, February, and then March would be the first day of the growing season, as indicated down here. And that's how these work. Moving on down the list of the introduction to how this works, we have top farmers by cash versus net worth. Yeah, I hate to say it. We've given you some unique abilities here. It's kind of like Monopoly and farming combined, but it shouldn't be because we're a farming community. But it's kind of like a poker game and everything else, because here we can look around at our players and we can see their net worth, how much cash they have in their hand at the moment, what their net worth is, who they are. And we utilize a thing called player validated accounting. That means that we don't have to watch you, other players watch you. And the way you do that is you just simply click on one of these dots and you can see what people are doing, how they're earning money, and so forth, because this is their ledger link here. So want to see how, Donkey Rider Ranch got his money? Well, just look here and you can kind of poke through it. All ledgers are contained back to the beginning of time for each player. Some of the other, so this becomes important if you're bidding on land, and let's say that, I want to buy this piece of land, but I don't really want to pay full price, so I'm going to announce that I'm bidding on it. Well, anyone can jump in and kind of steal it from you. Well, this gives you kind of a rough idea of how much money they have and whether you should pay full boat and buy it now, or try and risk it at the auction and get the property for cheaper. Down below that, we have the Newswire. Anything that happens in our system, you'll generally see a message flow in here. So as player accept contract and complete them, you'll see messages indicating that. When people get promoted, you can see it happens here. When people lease lots, when they complete contracts, when people create contracts, there's a whole bunch of things. And when they purchase things, you can kind of see what's going on. Down below that, we have news filters. And if you don't want to see any of these things up above in the news, you can turn that on and off quite easily. Down below are more links. Because we have PVA, this is where we can look at the various logs. So we can look at a master ledger, and this is for everyone. Everything going on in the system ticks a record here that all players can look up. We can look at sales, and we can say, hey, who's making sales today? And, you know, it's kind of like all here. We can look at purchases, people buying things. Oh, look, here are the players buying supplies. We can tell who's paying, who's not in our system. When they buy animals would all be announced there, and so forth. The other thing we can look at is rentals. We can see who's renting stuff and what they're renting and when they're renting it. We say so. These are all the factory purchases and sales. So our system runs like in the real world. Our factories generate ledger entries, and everything that happens is contained in these ledgers, and money exchanges wallets automatically in our system. Everything that happens is logged, is what I'm trying to say. Global contracts would be shown here. Logistica is a company that validates when you sell something or export it that it is the correct amount, and then they dispose of it and sell it. And once they verified that, you get paid. If you're selling to an NPC, you get paid instantly. So here's where you can find all of these things, and you can even watch people, exporting stuff to different servers and so forth through this link. Shady's, he's our used car dealer, and his name is for obvious reasons. Count your fingers, but Shady's can be a great deal. So you can see Shady's is a 100% dealer financing once you've been here 25 days if you choose to buy or pay cash. Shady can help you, and here's where he logs all of his inventory and purchases. Coming back to the menu, if we look up here now, we can look at some of the other things. In our system, we have auctions, so if there's a real estate auction, you'd find it listed here. If there were equipment auctions, they'd show up here. Banking, you have a checkbook. So here you have, if you wanted to write a check to Chivo Estates for something that he did for you, you'd simply enter it in, enter the amount, and then write the check. It's just that simple. And the money would show up with him, you'd get a ledger entry, and everyone's happy. Under banking, there's another option called shop loans. New players will not see this for the first 25 days. You start with 500K, so better hang on to your money because it can go quick if you don't know what you're doing. And once you lose that initial stake, even if you quit and come back, you don't get it again. You have to earn it the old-fashioned way by taking contracts and doing work. Here we are with shop loans. We can have many different loan providers in our system. Players can own banks. They have to be capitalized, but we don't do any of that fractional banking stuff, where it's 10%, like in the real world. We use sound money, so players have to have the amount that they're going to fund the bank with to be able to loan it out to other players. But once they do, they can set their own interest rates and requirements. So here you can see that I can get a loan right now, and it says this is the maximum amount I can borrow. Let's see. Okay. So you can see it's just like a standard loan that you get in civilian life. The amount minimum, the maximum, documentation fees, and then it tells you down here what will happen. And basically payments are due every 3 days on this, and we have auto pay and so forth. The player can have up to 2 loans. They come at varying interest rates. That becomes available after the 25th day for players. You can't borrow money that you don't have. So banks only loan to people who have money. And so consequently, when you go to borrow, they will only loan you up to, whatever amount of your net worth, like 50%. Some can go 100%, but they have higher interest rates. So let the buyer beware. The interest adds up, and, it gets posted to your account automatically every 3 days. So let's see, moving on. We now that we've covered banking and stuff, let's move on to something simple. say you want to look around on a server, figure out where to live and stuff like that. So we have these things called map legends. So if I come down and click on Elm Creek, you see that I get a map. I can see the crop calendars. And you also derive from the map exactly here what season it is now. So on Elm Creek, it is month 3, so that's August. And if we come over here, then we can look up August and we can tell exactly what would be planting right now. Production chains, factory information you might want to know. But here we are. Now we're at the good stuff. This is the Elm Creek map. We've taken the freedom of laying it out here on a web page and labeling the factories that are in the game and the lots of land. So in order to navigate this, you basically can come down here. You can see who owns which lots on here, what they paid for them, when they bought them. And you could look at available land parcels that you can buy or lease, which is sorted by the amount of, I think that's hectare, no, it's acres, and the price in ascending order. Once you find what you want to look at, like, oh, gee, I like lot 71, you can just come up here, locate it on the map, and I'll blow this up a little so we can see, and go, oh, just click on it. Once you do that, then you're brought to the lot advisor, and you're shown images of your land. It's shown as listed, and it's shown as, you can look at the pics on it and kind of get a feel for what it looks like. If you're interested, it tells you here that the bid amount's going to be $680,000. So if I were to put this to auction, I can force this into auction if I have the money, and if nobody else bids against me, at the end of a day, so the end of tomorrow night, at midnight East Coast time, if no one bid against you, you would acquire this property for $680,000. Or if you don't want to do that, you can buy it now when the price is $1,020,816. We also have other ways to get to these guys, and that is via our real estate listings. So if we go here, and I go back and I look at lot 77. So that was these chunks over here, and I'm like, hey, I want to see that. So what I do is just click into this, and I get to see it. And these are the options. And this is the same for everything in our system. It's bid. Okay, I can bid on it and force it into auction and take this whole bundle if nobody bids against it. I can buy it now. So if you got a bunch of players with cash and, you know, it's like, oh, geez, I don't want anyone to know and I don't want to risk them outbidding me, you can buy it now. You pay a little bit more, but you get peace of mind, you know, if it's a piece of land that you don't want to lose. Or you can lease it. Now, if you lease it, leases come with options to buy. So before that lease ends in 12 months from the time that you lease it, it will offer you the opportunity to purchase it. If you don't purchase it, then it goes back to auction and gives everyone the opportunity to pick it up at the bargain rate. This helps keep it fair, and it prevents people from locking down and releasing property endlessly, and no one else ever getting a shot at it. So that's our solution. In our system, all property is available for sale. We don't hold anything back. We don't make you wait for things to drop. So in our system, anything that's available is going to be shown here on the list, and you can buy it, lease it, do whatever you want with it. And the minute you take it, it will end up back over in this over on the Legends page. One of the other thing about the Legends, if we go back to that for a second, and that was some of the other features on the map. So when you come into the map, here's the spawn point. Here's Shady's used equipment lot. And over here is the rental lot. And if you click on this, you can see that this is the equipment that you can rent on this server. And to rent something, we actually fixed the broken lease equipment problem. It's actually fairly reasonable. I need a harvester for a day. It's $1,295. If I rent that, it's due back in 1 day at this particular timestamp. So you know exactly when it's brought back. And if you want, you're a nice guy, you can even, gift it to your buddy and pay for the rental, and then he gets it for a day. Equipment rentals must be returned clean, fueled up, fully repaired. Players are not required to pay for repairs. If fuel is there included in the price. The equipment's rented empty, so if you return it, like chock full, guess what? Shame on you. You don't get reimbursed for it. It's your loss. So if you have land or leased land, dump these things back out on the ground, in their containers, and then you can reuse them later. Okay, so this is how we got here. Now through the website, just to keep you in sync here, we'd go over here to rentals and we'd click rental center. And if I'm on the Elm Creek server, I'd click that, or I'd select the proper one. And this shows me what's on the lot. Now, once I have this, don't go renting it yet. How do we know it's there? Sometimes players will rent things and they won't bring it back or release it, or they'll bring it back, but they won't say that, hey, I'm done with this and release the title on it. So what we recommend that you do is you actually hop over to the server. This is our Elm Creek one that we're discussing now. So if I hit escape on this map, go up to the general map and have a peek, there's a pretty good bet that this is the rental center. And if we look at the players, yep, you can see that pink is the rental center. All players play in the farm manager account, by the way, and we can explain that more in detail as we go on. So at any rate, going back to the map, I'm going to hop over here. And here we are. Oh, watch out for that ladder. Okay, so this is the rental center. Everything that you see online is here. Also, players can purchase supplies. So like seeds, lime, fertilizer is all available here at the rental center. Okay, the most basic equipment. Now the rental center has moderate equipment, not the best stuff and not everything. So balers and stuff like that are considered specialty equipment. So players would have to buy those. But for the basics that you need to get your farm growing and harvest your crop and plow and cultivate and rent a tractor, there's a wide selection here. So what we always want players to do is just come down and look at what's here versus what's in game. And then if I want to rent this Valmet, I come down, I'm like, okay, let me go in the game, and oh, here it is right here. So this would be okay for me to rent because I'm actually looking at it. So what I do is I just click on the rent it and click this. It will take the money out of your wallet, and poof, you get a ledger entry for it, and you just drive the vehicle off. That's all there is to renting at the rental center. It's actually a very straightforward, simple process. Moving along, you can see what's available: sprayers, weights, spreaders, trucks, pretty much anything you need to get the job done. Right behind that is the export center. So if you were going to sell product to the export center, you'd simply bring it to the silo and drop it in here. And then a logistic contract would be issued, and a driver would show up and pick up that truck in the yellow account and sell what you had dropped. And when he completes that contract, then you would get paid automatically from that. So it's kind of a tour of how this works. If you're buying supplies here at any of these sites, how do you pay for it? Okay, since we all share the same account in the FM, there's a way to do this. So let's go back to the website. And no, we're not going to rent this. We're just going to go back to the main menu. And here we are. So this brings up the topic of factories. So buying supplies is easy. We go to factories, and I'm on Elm Creek. And you can see here, so we have a bunch of NPCs, all the factories in here, and sale points, as you can see here, it's a sell point, are all listed here under the Marketplace Stores Factories Listings section. So if I wanted to buy some supplies, say I wanted to buy some lime, this is it here, and you can see I'm at the rental center. So lime would be sold here, and I'd click Buy from Factory. So this is our market system. And basically, it enters in whole numbers. So if you're going to buy 1,000 units of fertilizer, you'd simply put in a 1, and it would charge you $1,950 and take that from your wallet, and you would then be able to take 1,000 units of this. The fill limiters aren't set up yet as of the time of this recording, so everything's sold in bulk at 1,000. Players will have to round down or up. If it's over 1,500, then you go to 2. If it's under that, then you just round down to 1,000. So if you're renting the sprayer, it's got 1,200 capacity. Well, then you would enter a 1 as your number and pay for 1,000 liters, and that's how it's done. So everything's transacted in whole numbers here, so it's always by the 1,000. That's the important thing to remember. Also, you can look and you can see perhaps it's cheaper somewhere else if it's an item that's being bought. And this takes you into our market display, and we'll say, oh, well, these 2 other people are selling it, and here's the prices. Prices can vary from server to server, which means that we should probably look at markets while we're here. So off of the main menu, we have a button called Markets. Just like in-game, where you would go here, let's see. So if we were in-game and we wanted to sell something, this is their internal system. So if I clicked wheat or barley, it would say, hey, these 4 stores are selling it, and they're buying at this price, and they're selling at this price if you want to buy it. Now, don't laugh, but I think they stole this from us, because let's go to our system. We don't use this system at all. We use our own internal website system, which is right here. So let's say I want to sell wheat. I'd hit Control F and type in wheat, and this would show me every place that's buying or selling. And you could see here that we show what they're paying. So if I've got to sell wheat, and let's see, this is Elm Creek PC here, and I keep looking down. Here we are. Here's Elm Creek. This is sorted in descending order, so you get the highest price places that are buying it first, and then you get the lower price ones down towards the bottom until we run out of buyers in the service. So you can see Supply Silo 2's buying it, Goldcrest is buying it, Feed and Grain South, and so forth, and what they're paying per 1,000 K. These prices are dynamic, they fluctuate, they go down as players buy from them during the day. An algorithm changes them randomly during the day. So you get a lot of play out of those. Sometimes holding things can be the best bargain, and you watch this market and prices change. So you can see here that the grain mill's buying wheat, Feed and Grain South. So this is the highest paying one. So, and they're going to require 145,000. So if you wanted to sell them that amount, and why not? They're paying the most. This is selling direct to a factory. It's a grain mill. Any player can own this, or the system can. But here's how you access their page. You click buying, and it takes us to the factory page. And it says, hey, you want to sell to them? I'm like, oh, yeah. So I come here. I enter the number I'm going to sell. I only have 30K worth, so I'm going to put in 30. And when I click sell, it will deduct the amount from my wallet, give me a receipt, and then, take my product, I dump it there, and I'm done. I've been paid. So back in the game, my wallet amount goes up by that amount, and then I get a ledger entry saying, hey, you sold something, you got some money coming in, okay? So it's just that simple to transact with our markets, or you can go to the factory page. Now, while we were talking about markets, it's good to mention, we'll go back to the wheat example, okay? Let's say that I'm down there, and holy smokes, mother of Jesus, one day I come in here and look, and I almost spit out my coffee, because up here on Elm Creek PC, they're paying $1,800, but that's a different server. What's a guy to do? Well, here, watch this, right? And maybe this will even work. We're in the process of getting it all switched over and converted, but check this, okay? So I would just go to exports, and you can export sales to sell it on this server. Remember that silo I showed you at the rental center? You can sell it to them, or you can take it to any NPC and click through that link, or you can export it to a server. So let's say today the price was like $500, $600 higher on Elm Creek PC. All I do is just say, hey, I want to send this to a server, and I want to send this to, let's say the co-op server. I click on that, and it says, okay, what are you sending? And I'm going to be like, I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to say, I'm sending 350K of barley over to Elm Creek PC. And then when you click export here, the system will generate a contract. You dump all the stuff in there first, and then the system will generate a contract. And what will happen is a logistica guy will come up, he'll pick up that load, he'll dispose of it, and then when he's through and clicks that he's complete, a new contract will be created on Elm Creek PC. And another driver will go over there from Logistica, and he'll pick up that order and dump it into the outbound silo. And then you'd go to the facility and pick it up and sell it at an NPC point for your 1,800. Now, yes, it does have a cost associated with it, and the cost to get your product moved from server to server is, I believe it's $15,000. So you need to factor that into the equation. But we support all of this natively. If our markets, if you want to look to see where you could get the most for carrots, you just click on it and it says, oh, these are the sell points. This is an end product, so no factory is using it. But you can look at other things as well, and this shows you everywhere in our system of if you're buying it or selling it, or if it's a factory, that it's required. Okay, so moving along, this is just some of the things, okay? So as far as contracts go in our system, hey, you want some work? You come in here. Let's say you can take a contract that says go to Elm Creek. The pay is $18,200, plow lot 71. Watch this column. It says plowing. It says equipment must provide. So you have to provide equipment. Sometimes it will say farm provided. Supplies, none required. This could either say that they're supplied by the farm, or you build them, or you got to bring your own. These are all options when contracts get set up, but players can come here and freely take work. There's no timer in between contracts. Take as many as you want, but you can only do them one at a time. It's first come, first serve. Factory contracts are posted here. Player contracts are posted here. So you get them while they're hot. Equipment purchases. Hey, everyone likes to shop, right? And you can do this at work too, just like shopping for land. You basically come here and say, oh, my equipment. So this is all the stuff that I own, okay? How many hours are on it, what I paid for it, what the options were, so forth, where it's located, and so forth, okay? We also have an interesting thing called, let's show it to you instead. Let's go purchase a piece of equipment. I want to buy a new piece of equipment. I click purchase. I'm on Elm Creek, or I'd pick the server that I'm on. Click go, and now let's say I want to buy a car. Okay, I'll take this new truck. I simply come in here, and it says, okay, that's going to cost you $45,000. Okay, I get a discount because I'm in operations, and that shows up, and it's deducted from the total. But when you're charged, when you order this initially, you'll be charged the base price or the net price here initially. But let's say that I wanted to order it with special rims. I'd come down here and say special rims and any other options I wanted, big engine, etc. Okay, so once I purchase this, what will happen is that the person who goes to deliver it to me will add on the amount of the mods and bill you for those separate. So they'll come right out of your wallet, and you'll get a message that it's been delivered to the store. Deliveries normally happen within 24 to 72 hours, sometimes a lot less if it's coming from the store. You just don't know when it's going to show up, but it will. And if you specify what you want here for options, there's a limit of like 250 characters, so don't get carried away. Then when the clerk goes to deliver it, he'll add those on, and he'll bill you for it. Now, while we're here, it's important to talk about monthly repair coverage. We offer an extended warranty on vehicles. Initially, the bug was that, oh my God, it cost $30,000 to repair a tractor, and I only made $11,000 off the field. So our solution was extended warranty. So here, you can only purchase this one time. You're given the chance with a new vehicle to purchase coverage. If you say yes, right, it says the daily cost amount, or monthly cost as it were in game, is going to be $225. So what that means is whenever you go to repair this, you don't have to pay. Just repair it all you want, and don't report it because the system pays for it. You've got the coverage on it. You can only buy it here. But remember, you're going to get charged the daily amount every day. It's like maintenance on buildings that you build. You'll get charged for that every day. Okay, so this is where you'd opt for that, and you just need to know that because you can't purchase it again once you're given this opportunity. So that's all there is to it, to buying. The money's taken from your account, and then the further amount is added to it when it's delivered. Okay, so Pretty straightforward in buying equipment. It's just like in game, except you do it here and someone delivers it to you. It will have a license plate. It doesn't have to have a boring license plate. We put the farm manager number, and the farm manager number would be under stats. So like if you were up in smoke, your number would be 222. And that's what ends up on the license plate of everything you'd buy. If you're unhappy with that, you can come here to permits. You could say get permit. And you could say, oh, the equipment is on Elm Creek, and I want a, where is it? Custom license plate permit. And then just put in the plate name, and then every piece of equipment you own can have that funky license plate that's you. And this is how we know it's your equipment too, because then we can track it and so forth. And then once you request that and pay the fee, let's see, down here is a list of fees. Equipment recovery. Oh, if you go off the road and do it quick, it's going to cost you 10 grand for that reset. Building permit. You want to build on your property, 10 grand, and you get a permit for 24 hours. But you have to come here and apply for it before you can build. Custom license plate. There it is, $2,700. It's a one-time fee forever, and you're good to go. Equipment mod. Hey, I bought that tractor, and Jesus, wouldn't you know it, I forgot that I wanted the wide tires. Well, you pay for an equipment mod permit, which is $2,000. You describe what you want, and you leave the equipment at the store. We take that $2,000 as a down payment towards the mod, and if it doesn't cost that much, then we'll refund you the balance when they do the mod upgrade for you. But you have to request that and leave it at the store and describe what you want in the permit above. Let's see, what else was there? Factory storefront. It's another issue. Factory storefront, we allow players to, let's say that you have a bale of a stack of hay on your property. You're a super producer and you've got like 10 million tons of it in the silo, and you want to sell it to other players for their animals. Well, you'd set up a factory page for this fee. And what that means is it's a page just like you saw in our markets where you can buy and sell to the factory. Players can go to your page and buy and sell from you, and it's fully automated. They get a receipt, you know who they are, it decrements your inventory, and it pays you the money, more importantly. That's what a factory storefront is. Players can have them in our system, so that's what it's referring to. So that's permits. Now, buildings, they kind of work just like purchasing equipment. So if I look at my buildings, you can see these are all the ones that I own. Now, our system, since we all share the farm manager account, allows us to sell property to another player without having to wipe it out. So if you build on property, you can actually add stuff to the title when you get ready to sell it, and that will drive up the value of the land. And then when you sell it, you'll get more money from it because that building is now part of the title. All buildings have maintenance fees, as you can see here. And some of them, ironically, if we come down, like this guy is solar with shelter. He actually gives a credit. So I make money by having him. So if you had a windmill or something, they can earn you money, but they cost. Demolishing a building is 20% of its original value plus a contractor fee of 10 grand. No money is refunded on a building. So if you put down a building, you don't like it and you absolutely hate it and want to get rid of it, it's going to cost you a little money. And then we give you the authority, and then it gets deleted, and then you pay. And then you can rebuild, but you don't earn any money from the building that you tore down. So it's kind of prohibitive, so be careful when you're building. And that's kind of how that works. If we go back into accounting, in mine, you see the buildings that I own. And so here it is charging me every day. And it's just ticking out of my bank account, and it takes the money. And here was that one I showed you. Here was my shelter, and it's giving me a credit. So that's kind of how that works and how we monetize that. All of the money that's in the FM account stays in that account. In-game, it's not yours. It's just money that fluctuates back and forth between certain elements. Your wallet and all of your banking is done here. You do a contract, your money comes to you as cash instantly. If you sell crop, you get it here instantly. There is no delay. There's no waiting days for it to go up or down to the web and from the web to in-game. Our system's unique. It's tokenized. So everything you own, everything that you are is here. So if we look under player stats, we can go in and we can look at any player and we can see these things. We can look at his ledger. We can see like how many contracts he's done, what the value of them was. We can also look over here and we can say, oh, he's got this much cash. That's what the C stands for. If we click on V, we can even look at his vehicles to see what he owns. If we look on L, we can look at his real estate holdings for land. And I forget what this one is. Oh, buildings. We can even look at the buildings that he's paid for and licensed. So this is part of the PVA accounting stuff, and you see everything he has. So all of our stuff trades freely, and one of the other benefits of being all in the same account was that if players have animal bonds, you're no longer, as a contractor in the original versions, you were never able to see into their bonds to take care of their animals if they wanted, even if you had contractor. In our system, because they're all in the same account, we can buy and sell developed land to each other ad nauseum. We can sell farms with animals in it to each other just by handing over a title. We don't have to destroy anything. You can take care of anyone's animals and see the status of those animals. These are the multitude of benefits of all of us being in the same account. Everything's titled, it's your land. Things happen instantaneously, just like in real life. So that's kind of a tour of how that works. So this is the rental center, and that's the export center back there. If we wanted to go and look at some other things here on the map, I believe this lot back here is Shady's. So every server needs a crooked equipment dealer, right? Well, this is Shady. Shady, if we go to the map, let's go back here. Let's just go here. We'll click on Shady, and it's here. And here's Shady. Okay, so Shady has a great deal. If you need to sell equipment in the game, you have to sell it to Shady. Shady takes the place of the shop. He buys it from you, and then he resells it to other players after marking it up, of course. But Shady's offers buy it now for cash, you get it for cheap. The good thing about Shady's is that if he has a tractor that's been upgraded with GPS and a big engine, that could be 50, 60 grand. Shady doesn't pay for anything more than what the base price of the vehicle is, and he pays like 60% of that when he buys it. So if something's used and upgraded, you can save big money by buying it from Shady. Even after he adds on his cash, it's still cheaper than new, and these are real player-owned vehicles. The other thing about Shady's is that he finances. After you've been here for 25 days, it's buy here, pay here. So sometimes if you have no money, you can't buy it with the cheaper cash option. He'll just say, hey, he'll finance anyone. But as with anything, if you do finance it, he's telling you, what you have to pay, what the amount is, and, all the obligatory credit stuff. And he does his own financing of it. And then he holds your title until it's paid. If you choose to pay in cash, you just click on that, and he's like, yeah, here it is. And all sales are final. He offers a taillight warranty. There is no canceling or returning, so you just simply purchase the equipment. Let's say we're going to buy that sprayer right there. And theoretically, there'd be one here. Oh, yeah, here it is. So if we head over to his lot, he's got an olive unit there, it looks like. You could purchase this sprayer right here, and it's a lot cheaper than in-game. And, it's a great deal for players looking to save money. Like this roller's probably 150 grand, and I'll bet you Shady will sell it to you for, let's have a look. The Dalbo roller. He'll sell it to you for $98,000. So, that's a tremendous bargain compared to the price of new. So, be aware of Shady as inventory changes, and when it does, you will find it down here. Every time Shady buys something from a player, it will show up in this news list, okay? All right, so moving along down this list, we looked at equipment, we looked at co-op harvest. If you go to the Elm Creek co-op server, the equipment is provided by We Say So. However, if you're on another server, like any of the player servers where other players live, like Elm Creek PC and Elm Creek, Global Co-op does own some land there, but players have to use their own equipment to do the contracts. They're paid more for doing them, and then at harvest time, the co-op harvest would, if you're harvesting for the co-op on any server, you'd have to come here, and then you'd say, oh, I'm on Elm Creek or whatever, and it says, oh, you're not on that particular crop. So what would happen is you'd just sell it at the closest sell point versus shipping it off to that server. But sometimes if they need the product, they'll actually export it back to the co-op server if you're not on that server. So, food for thought. All right, so moving along from that, we had exports, we covered that, basically how to do it. We covered factories, and we covered the markets, so that you know that this is where everything's bought and sold. Factories buy things here from players. If they're buying it, it will be available, and if they need it, if they're not, then it won't. Remember, it's always in whole units, so like 1 would equal 1,000, 7 would equal 7,000. If you enter 7,000 in here, then you're instantly going bankrupt. Okay, and you can buy from them the same way. Oh, that's another thing. Let's talk about that for a second. Buy from factory. If the factory owner wants to sell it, he can sell it, okay? So if you look online, sometimes there'll be a number available here. So let's go look at cake for a second. And maybe someone's got some somewhere. Nope, I don't see it. All right, but if there were cake here, it would be sitting out back, or even bread. And what you would do is, let's say he had 10 available. You could click on bread, and you could actually buy them. So if I bought like 10 of these things for $3,700 at our factory, actually, let's leave this for a second and go to the oil factory for a second. I think they have some inventory, or even the grain mill. Yeah, okay, grain mill. Let's go here. He's got 16 crates of flour available, okay? So if I go in game, all right, and you'll get a kick out of this. All right, so if I go in game, and we're over here at Shady's lot, so now you know where Shady's is. And we're going to go back, and I'm going to go to the grain mill. He's right up top here. I'm going to hit space to get there. So this is the factory that we're looking at, okay? So if you had a truck, pickup truck, and a little trailer, you find your way up here. They have a lift, and he's got all of these pallets available. According to his website, he's got 18 available for sale. And so what we're going to do is going to go back to the website, and let's say I wanted to buy 4 of them. I'd enter 4, press enter, and the money would be deducted from my wallet. The factory's inventory would go down, and then he'd spawn new ones. So once I buy these, I own these as a player. If I'm paying $900 a piece, I can click on flour and go into the marketplace. And I'm like, okay, look at this. I can sell this product at Johnson Farmers Market for $11.45. So I just made $1,000 off of that pallet by buying it and selling it. And you can play the market. Now, every time you buy or sell to an NPC, the price goes down. Okay, but these change and refresh every day. And you can see that there are many other buyers. If I wanted to sell it to this guy for this price, they're always sorted in descending order from the high price to the low price. You know, we've done the work for you. You know, we don't want to hold you back from making money. So if I wanted to sell my flour that I just bought, I'd have to deliver it to Johnson Farmers Market. And I could just click here and then say, oh, that's around the corner. Bring it over, and let's see, what am I selling them now? Well, I'm going to sell them some flour. So I'm going to sell them 4 of them. Okay, remember I paid $900, and look, I'm going to get $11.45. So I'm doing the factory a favor because I'm getting it off their hands. Now, if a player owns a factory, he can choose not to sell it, and then it will say not for sale, and you can't touch it. But if it's We Say So factory, they allow the players to save them having to issue a contract for a trucker, and players can freely transact these factories and buy from them and sell to them. So, like, I own that flour, so now I'm going to sell it to this particular sell point here, which is the farmer's market. But I could just as easily choose to sell it to a factory or anyone that wants to buy that particular product that I have. Okay, so that's kind of how our markets work, and we have this extensive structure for factories. When players own them, then you would control the price, and you would decide whether you want to be products to buy and ship automatically. And we have a lot more to do with factories, but that's way too much for this video. So this is just kind of an introduction to our system and how it works. Greenhouses, if you had that, if they're buying stuff or selling it, it's going here. So the grocery mart, want to sell to it? Here's all their products. You don't think they have a great price? You can click on butter and say, hey, who else sells this? And it tells you everyone in descending order. Oh, look at that. Fast food restaurant on PC1 is buying it at $2,300. Okay? So if I'm producing it here and I'm like way under, I could make a bundle just by exporting it and then importing it on that planet. So all of the things you want to sell are here. That's how to look up the different pricing of it all. And it'll take you a little bit. We have a very complex system. It's very refined. We've been running factories on FS19 for about 6 to 7 months in beta. So we have these this plethora of processes that we have that you're really going to love. If you buy one of these guys, they're going to be fun to own. So we've monetized them. Players can buy and sell to the factories, and that's what the game lacks. So we got it. Yep, aisle 9, and we have the markets. Moving along. Okay, let's cover my account. Here's where you get it, your settings, your login, email. Passwords can't be changed once they're in. No one can see them. The admins can't see them or whatever. So, make sure you don't lose it or forget it, because all we can do is just reset it and give you a temp code, and then you'd have to enter in a new one, but we can't get at it. So you see what's going on, what your level is, your farm manager, much of the information off the front page, when you joined, your last log on, your credit, your renewal dates. Renewal dates revolve around our subscription plans. We don't pursue players for money. We don't care if you donate. Yes, we have expenses. We're a community. We're not pay to win. We're not pay to play. So what we had to do to temper all of this was to say, hey, okay, if someone wants to give $5, we can't give you, things in game, because that wouldn't be fair to the people who work for everything. Everything is earned in our system. So we said, oh, this is genius. We'll give you a discount, but you can't use it to get anything unless you actually do work and earn the money. And then when you spend it, you get a discount as our way of saying thank you for helping us out with these expenses. This covers the expenses for other people who probably can't afford to play. Younger people or older people, unemployed, whatever. We're a community. We're not here to shake down our members for donations, and you'll never see us talk about it. But this is what it refers to in your profile when it says not activated. For like the price of a burger or a beer a month or a coffee, it's less than the price of a coffee at Starbucks. You can help us out. And in exchange, we give you a discount. And they go up to like 25%. If players want to sponsor servers, they can, and new maps and other things, and there's certain perks for that. Or they could do a one-time payment of down here, and it goes right into our hosting account, and we just spend it on us. We're not a for-profit deal. No one's earning a full-time living from this. We do it because we love the game, and we're reinventing the way that this game works. We couldn't find anyone else out there like this, so we literally had to invent it ourselves and create it, and we got lucky. This new FS22 releases everything that we could dream of from a multiplayer aspect. And if there's one thing we do, it's multiplayer right. We have real factories, and we don't have fake ones, and we have real import-export contracts, and it's a breath of fresh air. We don't allow cheating. We don't allow anything that's an unrealistic mod, and we run it by the books. If people get caught doing things they shouldn't, then they have to leave. It's just that simple. We don't mess around with people. You're either responsible and you can play right, or if you break the rules and you keep breaking the rules, then as a community, sorry, but we don't need that. So that's kind of the Bums Rush tour of what we're about, and about donations and how they work. And that discount is on anything that you buy, be it land, vehicles, etc., on the buy it now price. Moving along through the menu, player rules. You click on this. It's the basics. We had the Encyclopedia Britannica on rules because we had some bad players when we started. Not bad, they're just typical. They want to They come here because they want someone to impose rules, and then they want to break them all, but just for them. So we don't do that. We're pretty much set in our ways, and we're all about freedom and the ability for players to act like adults and transact in a free world. I know this game's kind of like poker, Monopoly, and farming combined because of what has happened to it, what we've done to it. But this is magic. I mean, and all of our seasons are different on each server, so there's never a lack of work. We don't hold you back from making money. It's all earned. Nothing's given to anyone, and we're in this for the long haul. So it's important to know that. So rather than put out Encyclopedia Britannica, we shortened our rules, kind of made them simple, and just kind of said what we had to where we did. But there might be something here that you don't understand or you're not sure of, and just ask any admin or ask other players. It's don't destroy the map is basically our number one rule, and be considerate to other players. We don't want a caustic environment. We want people that are friendly to each other. We all come here to have fun and play. So if that's you, then you should consider joining us. We don't make you wait. You can get in pretty much the same day. So that's what this video is about, just to help you understand who we are. Now, if you're going to do an in-game purchase, moving along down through this list, you can look in here. And say you need to repair a vehicle, you'd come here and say, hey, I had to do repairs. I'm on Elm Creek, and I spent $382. And then you just press enter, and it takes it out of your wallet. Specify what vehicle you did the repair on. And that's how we make sure that you get paid for, that we get paid for stuff like that. The other exception is if you have animals and you go to sell them, the prices can vary. We don't know what they're going to pay you for it, or if you're selling to something that we didn't know about, you can come here and you could say, hey, if I'm doing in-game contracts on Ellengrad for players and they pay me in money like 20 grand or 3 grand, I just say, hey, I was on Ellengrad and I did a contract and earned 3,500, and this is how you get paid for that instantly. Now, the first time you go to those other two servers, Erlengrad and Hot Baileron, an admin will have to authorize you to the contractor's account to be able to accept contracts. So once you're set up, you go there, take all the contracts you want. We also have the co-op server, which will have contracts, and also contracts on your own local server. Generally, never a shortage of work around. All of the servers are in different time zones. And different periods of the year. So we don't stagnate players and say, hey, you're not going to do anything in winter. There's always something to do in our system. Let's see, moving along through here. That was purchases and how to sell animals. And one of the other things was in-game contract or an animal sale to a sell point or other unlisted sale. So if you can't find it in our system, you can pay for it here. Now, one of the other things was that if you were building and you get a building permit, what happens is an admin will grant you build rights, and you landscape your own land, build it for you have 24 hours, and just be careful. And you don't have the ability to delete buildings, so when you put them down, you better have picked a good spot and been ready for it. If you're doing landscaping, we don't know what it's going to cost, or if you're buying trees or something. So what we want you to do is just tally it all up. So when the game says, oh, hey, that parking lot costs, $3,200, then what you do is you just go in and you'd say, hey, that's either an in-game purchase, I did an upgrade, or you can just go to your checkbook and write a check to the Global Revenue Service and just say, hey, I built trees on my land and this is what it cost. As long as you pay for it, no one's going to get up in your stuff, because we keep an eye on everything, and there's certain checks and balances, and other players audit everything. So it's a wonderful system. This is how we purchase real estate. My leased land, so any land that I own is shown here. When I go into it, I can choose to sell it. I can choose to auction it. Any upgrades that I've done to it will be shown down below. I can look at land, and I can enter basic data about it. And let's see. So that was that. Here's rentals. Don't forget that if you have a rental and you go to, oh, geez, I do have a rental. Did I return it? Oh, crap, I didn't. All right, so you can either extend or you can return it. I think I used this for 2 hours, so I'm going to return this rental item. Good, it's returned. See, that's why I said you go to the rental outlook, because sometimes it can be there, but someone didn't return it here, someone like me. So sorry about that in advance. That's why we double check. Okay, so meanwhile, going back out to the main menu, admins, all of the jobs that are done by players are all volunteer positions. So, and we enable players to be able to do these yourselves. So once you're trusted, you too, you'll be able to see logistica contracts, like to transport player goods to the final destination and dispose of them. You'll be able to accept delivery jobs. Holy boy, someone's falling behind. And these are player orders that are waiting to be delivered. And I guess I have to get to work pretty soon. And basically, players do these deliveries. If there were mods, they'd enter in the amount it would ask them, and they'd complete the contract. So all of these things happen via players in our system. Admins have a little bit more work, and that's a whole separate submenu of things. They handle banking and a bunch of other features. But this is our system in a nutshell. Thanks for watching the video, and we hope you enjoy it. And if you made it through this, just tell them Sally sent you. And when you get to the onboarding room, and we'll just give you your account, and you'll be up and running in no time. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you around soon online.